I wake my sister up and I said, let's get the hell out of here. Okay? And that's it. That's all I remember. The next things I know is 9 o'clock or so the next day. I'm entering my village. Now, where have I been all night? And to this day, I asked my sister, do you recall? She said, yes, I recall everything until I fell asleep. I don't recall even drinking my Coke. But I don't remember if you took me or not to where I worked. And I don't recall it either. But the most important part of all this incredible second UFO experience is that those guys left me with a headache that I would never wish to my worst enemy. For weeks, I was like, oh my God, what did they do to my head? I have no idea. So that is experience number 2. After this experience with my sister, I went back to England, and something really weird happened to my mind. I could not recall my lyrics. It's like if I was not able anymore to sing. Even the song that I wrote, my memory was shattered, and I couldn't understand what. I managed still to get a recording deal. And then in one of my trips back home, I stayed with my brother. Now, my older brother, Joe, kind of a, big mafioso guy, hotels, restaurant, discotheque, and bars, I used to stay with him in his farm, which is about 5 miles away from the village. And every single night, we used to take off around 10 o'clock. Because, the discotheque, we had to drive through the vineyards that would take us to the main road to the highway. Another, let's say an hour later, we are at the discotheque, and we opened the discotheque around 11 o'clock. That was just, the typical routine. November 11, 1981. Okay, can't forget that. November 11, 1981. Just after 10, like we did every single night, we were driving through the vineyard. My brother, during those days, drove a brand new Mercedes. I own one right now, and they are very reliable. Okay, those guys don't die just like that. So we were driving through the vineyard, and I asked my brother, hey Joe, there's light. Is there people working in the vineyard yet? My brother is kind of a Scorpio guy, rough, right, straight to the point, sarcastic. Louis, we pick up the vine, the grapes in September. It's November. In other words, it doesn't talk much, like all Scorpio, right to the point. But I keep insisting. I said, Joe, something is not right. There's light over there. Look, they're moving. And then, the car died. And on top of the car, all I could see was light and light. My brother says, oh my gosh, the helicopter here? I said, the helicopter make a flopping noise. This is a humming noise. So I said to him, I'm gonna go and look. He said, are you crazy? He grabbed my hand. So I was able to get away from his grab. I opened the door and I went outside, and I look up, could not see nothing but light blinding me. So it took me a while, but I couldn't look. And then they turned the light off. That tells me that those extraterrestrials who was flying that saucer knew that they were blinding me, they were hurting me. So they turned the light off. It took me like, I don't know, a minute or so for my eye to adapt. And oh my God, 30 feet suspended above a dead Mercedes, a flying saucer. I was banging the front of the car and screaming every bad French word that I knew, asking my brother to get out. Of course, he did not. And you know what? There is no words to explain such an experience. Now you are now forced to face reality. It is not a dream anymore. It's not a question anymore. It's fact. A flying saucer is suspended above my head. And they said, oh, well, if you go too close to a flying saucer, you're going to be cooked. I wasn't cooked. Then in the middle of the flying saucer, different light came down. All of a sudden, all the light comes on again. And that flying saucer that was stationary just flew out and flew barely 5 feet above the chimney of the farm that was across the street, the road. My brother, the first thing, says to me, Louis, this did not happen. Don't talk to nobody. Okay. In fact, he waited 35 years, and finally he said, oh, you know what, our children needs to know the truth. Yeah, Louis was right when he said we saw a flying saucer. So for 30 years or so, he kept it a secret because he didn't want. Now listen to this. Normally when we arrive at a discotheque around 11 o'clock, because we open at 12, we stay open all night, or 11:30, we have the barman, we have the waitresses, we have people working. We're about to start to open the discotheque. When we arrive, the discotheque was full and running. So there is another lapse of time, another abduction that took place. For the first time in my life, and for the last time in my life, I've seen my brothers smoking and drinking. First time and last time. And I was doing the same thing on the other side of the bar. We were looking at each other and said, what the hell just happened here? And then the next day, of course, it was all over the news, all over the places, because we're not the only one who saw the flying saucers in the south of France. But believe me, this is not, I'm past believing UFOs now.